One map stands between these two teams, but that's what USA can only go to one of them. We're all the way through to the third map. Northeption have revenge for Scarz taking their first map pick, and we are all tied up here, going to Cafe for our final map of the series here in the Japan League and our final map of the night. I'm Dev Mata, and we hope you guys are still with us. We are in game here and getting into Cafe for Northeption versus Scarz. Mandy, let's have a look at this first defense. It is Scarz, of course, starting on that defensive side here. And I would love to say that this has been a defense or attacker-sided series so far, but Mandy, as we have discovered, you just simply never know with these teams in Japan League.
Nah, just chill out. Round by round, you know? Each situation is so unique, especially in the way that the game currently plays out, that you just can't really call it out. As you said, we are going to be going over into this top floor, and they're going to be fully utilizing the mirror to hold this really long line of sight. It's going to make Piano very hard to contest for the attack to make their entry work. And as a result, it does seem like Scarz are going to put some of their info here on this cocktail side of the map instead. So there is some ways that they can break this down, of course, with the Zofia being on that ranged hard breach. That castle setup can be slowly broken down. Not just that, but as well as the Nomad as well is going to help lock out some of those positions that defenders can comfortably be in the top floor. So I do feel like the attack does have the tools that they need to try and break down this defense.
It's one thing to have the tools to do so, and it's another thing entirely to actually be able to do it, as we have discovered many, many times before. But my question is, what is the play here for Shurip? He has been incredibly aggressive. He's actually going to barricade over a window. We've already seen him barricade once this... we've already seen him castle up once this game. Curious position we find ourselves in now for Scarz on the attack. Of course, the onus on them to make a move. And it looks like it is a full Piano hit. The Azami has not been banned, but neither has it been picked. It looks like the mirror and the shield from the Wamai is the main point of contest here for defense.
Interesting. So because the shield is facing on the interior of bathroom, it's not actually facing inside of Piano, they can't really clear it with the Hibana that they've got on the board, right? So Teo can't really beat those Hibana pellets in through the gap and clear that, so they're going to have to find some other way to deal with that instead. A pressure out from this southern rappel on the window might be the way to go, right? But there is a C4 prepped for him. Oh, really nice control early into mini. Not just that, but the first pick going their way. A run out at the bottom of white, really well read here from Rek, is going to open up the round for the attack.
And Nina's also a big player to take down, right? Like, this is the guy who's been consistently stepping up for Northeption in the early rounds and finding those pivotal kills. Fortunately, now it's an ugly position that Scarz find themselves in, and Northeption finally clawed back one kill. Akusu on this mirror. He's also got a teammate, Sylvia, hiding just around that corner. That is a very cheeky spot to be, but very dangerous spot as well, should he lose his life. And, I mean, there's not a lot in it for Scarz here. They will have to go deep. They will have to go big. The time's ticking away, and Sylvia is still lying in wait here in the freezer. The Warden must have an impact here, but unfortunately is swung from elsewhere. Washoy is the last one taken down, and that was a very awkward end round there for the attack. They got in, found a couple of picks, but, well, it all fell to pieces at the end of it.
Yeah, tough there for Scarz to pick that one apart. Yes, they were able to get that control inside of Piano that was ever so difficult with that long line of sight that the defense had created, but opening up bathroom wasn't enough. The two power positions that they really had to deal with if they wanted that execute to work was inside of freezer, and it was inside of backstore as well that came out later from a defender that was able to get inside of that position, right? So ultimately for Scarz, they do what ended up being a rather linear push just through one side of the map. It meant that the defense could sit really comfortably behind that mirror setup that they'd made for themselves, and they just closed it out on time essentially. So Scarz not looking too good on the attack so far, and Northeption, they just do what is simple and just play their strategy.
Downstairs now, it's the bakery bomb site next up on the chopping block for defense. Northeption have shown that they can be pretty decent in a pinch in those late rounds with a lot of players on the board. I'm not too scared for them. But what happens if Scarz find a few openings? What happens if Scarz identify some cheeky way to make an early aggressive push work? Because that's what we have seen quite a bit of before. The measure twice, cut once kind of strategy that has consistently worked wonders for them.
Scarz in this series have been playing a very dialed back game though, in my opinion. Like, not just on this series that we're watching now, sorry, this map we're watching right now, but on both Oregon and Clubhouse, they really took their time to get into the building. There wasn't a lot of times where I could look to Scarz and say that they were the ones here actually changing the tempo. It was more on Northeption that were trying some of the newer stuff and trying to go for like that mid-round execute type idea. So it does make me think that Scarz are leaning more into this sort of like careful, cautious approach to the map. We can still see a lot of them exterior to the map looking for that opportunity, but that's the Scarz way.
Very much so. Quite like the Brava pick as well. Okay, where is that Grim I'm hearing? Akisu has found Wreck early on. Damn, how is it that Northeption keep finding these early picks? Nina now moving down the brown stairs, and oh, this is so awkward for Scarz, isn't it? Yukiz has such a strong position here in Coates, but, pardon me, but Tayo is able to take him down. And a refrag immediately as well from Shuri. This is very awkward now for Scarz, 2 versus 4. And at 30 still on the clock, there's time to work with, but they do need to start bringing back this numbers advantage. It's not going to happen when Nina's on the flank from Brown Stairs. Let's not forget his position on the roam earlier in the round, as Scarz seemed to do so. Fish like, 1 versus 4. There's the first. A couple more nice shots like that. This might be possible, but it seems highly improbable.
Scarz having their plans not quite go their way over inside of White Stairs and over in that VIP area of the map. They decided to try and forego that top floor clear by attacking directly into the same floor as the bomb site, but there were players lying in wait for them. And unfortunately shut down really early on the entry denial, very characteristic of Northeption in this series so far. They're winning out their early game every time, so here's Fishlike now in a 1-on-3 with, yes, there is time to do it, 43 seconds left to go. But Northeption playing a very disciplined game, even with the man advantage. They're not going to give it to him.
They are, and in fact, I think the Solus rotated upstairs because he was fully aware that he could actually use that gadget to kill the diffuser planter in the late round through the floor. Have a look at that, though. What a way to get it done, Shuri. That is disgusting. Not an angle I don't think I've ever seen anyone wallbang that exact position before, to be honest. I thought he maybe ran to like the hallway and hit the 90-degree angle, but no, that's particularly nuts there. What you expect from Shuri, I guess. And Northeption on defense at Cafe, off to a flying start.
Yeah, they're doing really well and just like locking out what Scarz are attempting to do, right? The first round, Scarz sort of played into the defense of Northeption, I would argue. That time around, Scarz tried to go for something more direct, but Northeption had a good read on it, and they poised their players there and ready to face that resistance of Scarz. And I think as a result, I think for Scarz, I'm turning towards them now to try and introduce a little bit of unpredictability into this attack half. It just feels like these past 2 attacks, Northeption know exactly what Scarz are going for, and as a result can get ready their plays and they can compose them through the mid rounds. And I think for Scarz, it's really going to be on them to press that attack and try and do something special.
5 seconds left.
I don't know whether it's the play to go and go for like a rush special, or if it's like just trying to find some harder way, some more clearer way of clearing the power positions and the utility that Northeption have got. Because it's just time and time again, we're seeing Northeption get these early advantages. Scarz being unable to respond. Is Monty the kind of special that you were looking for, Mandy?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the thing about Cafe is that, like, especially when you're trying to attack into that top floor, you do face a lot of those long lines of sight, especially with Mira on the board that we've seen Nina bring up. But if you're Monty, it doesn't matter. You can just stare right down the barrel of lines of sight and not be shot out. So by having that on the board, it might enable Scarz to have a headway into this top floor that they previously didn't have.
Concern for me about that, Monty, is once you have top floor control, you're still very vulnerable to C4s from below. You're a Monty moving through bar quite slowly. I wouldn't be surprised if Nina or Yukiz is able to deploy one of those, get that big boom from below. Yon might get a bit of a fright. Looks like I like this from Scarz. They're actually taking control of mining and train early, so it seems like they're pretty versatile here in their push. They're not necessarily going for this really just clear, full top floor attack, addressing the mirror's head on. They're actually looking to go below.
Yeah, it's the more modern way. Good grief, I cannot speak anymore. It is the more modern ways to approach Rainbow Six nowadays, right? It's, yes, you're going to mount an attack, but just like think about the entire map holistically. You don't just want to tunnel vision yourself into the sole push you want to do. You're looking for openings and areas of weakness that the defense has given to you, and then capitalizing off that. And Scarz realizing that all of Northeption haven't started out early to hold on to that mine entry has allowed them to walk their way in. Not just that, but put pressure onto the players on the bomb side as well by opening that wall into reading.
Yeah, Yukiz is now going to have to reposition to the other side of that upturned cabinet in reading as well. But look at this incredibly powerful hold on the top floor. 3 players still from the defense locking down that position. And of course, from the top floor, you can jump over the mezzanine and take down the site. You can get a lot of vertical angles onto the site. There's just so many options. You could even flank the piano hatch, drop down into the train. So a bit worried here for Scarz, Mandy. Time is ticking away. They've started to clear these Vulcan canisters, but will there be enough time to get a plant down?
I think there will be. These Vulcan canisters have been cleared with a full 30 seconds left to go. The only thing to deny the plant will be that smoke, but Tayo's planted it right behind that Monty shield. He's going to be completely safe to do so.
Oh, the C4 missed as well. The smoke finally comes out, as you said, but it was just too late. Tayo is in a good position. Fish-like as well, coming up from the basement. Nino has found 1 kill onto Washoy with his C4, but that means there's no more explosives on the defense to deal with this Monty. They need a numbers advantage when it becomes just them and the Monty. And that means not losing any more kills. And essentially what's happened now is Sylvia left alone. He could get every single kill here bar the Monty, and the Monty would still win the round. But it doesn't matter because Fish-like is going to deny us from even reaching that point. And Scarz convert what was a really beautiful attack round. Northeption's careers as well. So there is quite a lot of history and quite a grudge match between these teams. And to add one last layer of icing to the cake, in that matchup, it was actually Scarz who picked Cafe and Northeption took it away from.
Dun, dun, dun.
Last time these two teams met on Cafe was that matchup. And Scarz are looking for a bit of revenge, but Northeption probably got some fun memories of those 6 invitational qualifiers.
That was a long time ago. Was a 6 invitational this year? Oh yeah, what am I on about? Yeah, it happens every year. Sorry, guys.
Mandy.
I'm Delulu.
Are you okay? You are Delulu. We were there, Mandy.
Yeah, that happened. That was the thing that happened. That was a really long time ago. Wow. That is a lot of time though for Scarz to improve, I suppose. Like, the thing about these matches, right, especially with these Japan teams, is that they play so much Rainbow Six. I know that sounds like really stupid because like all the Pro League teams play a lot of Rainbow Six, right? But the Japan teams, they play a lot of officials. And even if you're Scarz and you're down in like the quote-unquote tier 2 of Japan, you like translate yourself into tier 1, there's still a lot of games to be played. And so if you have like one bad day where you're just like feeling like a little bit burnt out and then there's an official day, it's like, oh no, the 6 invitational's now gone. That's like, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of the nature of a lot of these qualifiers, right? So I think for Scarz, consistency was the name of the game in 2022. It's now 2023. And that is not the name of the game in Japan. It's like, I feel like we've gone into this stage of Japan where like anybody can beat anyone on a particular day. It's sort of just like the nature of how close these teams have gotten, right? Anyway.
If you've been watching NAL or like, I mean, we've been watching OS, then I would say the exact same thing, right? Like, what's been in the water in Blast Star 6 for Stage 2 this year? I just want to point out that Brava drone was worth massive value. Yeah. It got an Evil Eye from Maestro.
That's the danger of picking Maestro in the era where Brava is very important, right? Like, some would say that it's a bit troll in some instances, right? Because, like, those Maestro cams are in such, like, isolated positions from what you're playing as well, right? So it is very susceptible to Brava. It's being used against him! Oh, no! I've used the Maestro to destroy the Maestro.
That is devilish from Rek, but he is taken down by Shuri downstairs. So while he did have a nice little trick up his sleeve, it is, of course, Northeption who get the last laugh.
Anyway, I'm absolutely the Lulu, aren't I? Anyway, there we go. Okay, the Maestro, Alda in hand, does find the pick onto Tayo as well, so he gets his revenge. That is the Bravo going down and a kill in his name. So he's having a good one so far. He's feeling better about that round. Man's disadvantage, though, is starting to be clawed back and fixed up by Fishlike as he's able to make that lurk work good on the second floor. Meanwhile, Pion, though, it seems like he's got a plan in his brain. Got the Capitao on the board at the moment. The diffuser is outside on that eastern balcony. I wonder what they're going to be able to do with that.
Well, Washo has just found a pick from this position. Important to keep in mind, as you said, Shurip going down. That is the pulse, right? That is your C4 from below. Sylvia's also used his C4. And so these three remaining defenders we can see on the outlines, all very isolated. They've all forfeited that cocktail control since Akasu went down. And now there's very much a gaping hole in the site for Scarz to jump right on in and start to execute. As we say that, Pion to enable some of that ingress from Washoy. Fishlike gets one as well. Nina's position has been spotted. The smokes might have saved him for a brief moment, but this would need to be an insane clutch to save the round. Remember, Kawasaki Scarz were 2 players down, and yet they make it work in the 3v5 to the 3v0. And Washoy delivered a lot of the kills there and the plant to boot. Big round for Scarz, and with that, 2 rounds on the trot, the scoreline is once again equal.
That was a good situational plan there for Scarz. With the remaining tools that they had, and taking down that pulse, like you said, that was the critical pick that Scarz needed to make that secret plan work, and that was to rotate all their players over onto Cocktail, fully utilize that Capitao to lock out the remaining defenders. Not just that, but it's on top of those Nomad air jabs as well that are really going to prevent that retake, enable Washoy to get that swing on into the building, and get the plant down as well. So Scarz, something that I can really commend this team for is that in unique situations, they're excellent at their problem solving, right? Scarz really know how to dial it back and think about what tools they have left on offer and then pick the best possible outcome for them to go for. And I think we really got to see that in that last round. All the things that had gone that way in the round, they fully capitalized on those opportunities. And as a result, there we go. We're finally starting to see the Scarz that we had hoped for on the attack.
Yeah, we really are in the age of mid-round adaptation in the attack of Siege, right? Like, that's the name of the game. And Scarz, they were at a disadvantage. They looked at the problems. They said, hey, let's come up with a solution. They did. Credit to them. That is not as easy as Scarz make it look. That's for damn sure. And this round, Scarz are once again bringing something a little bit special, as you would say, with that Montaigne pick. And I'm just going to say it, they're also bringing this Capitao time and time again.
I kind of like it, to be honest. Like, it is good for flushing out positions, especially on a map as important as Cafe, where power positions are like very well known and well drilled to the defense. So I think Sylvia's just realized that he is under not under at the moment, but about to be under a lot of pressure for the attack as they center their push around the bakery side of the map. They have got drones inside of the small bakery, seeing the positions left of the defense. Of course, a player inside a coach check. The thing they need to be worried about is this vertical from above, as our observer has pointed out to us. Nina is going to prevent that push from coming in inside of prep, although it is still Pion on the Monty, so he can look straight back up through those holes and calm them to his team.
Good information. Also, the good drone work on site, spotting out those goo mines. They pack a real punch these days and will deny the plant. So Scarz need to be extra careful. But have a look at this. Northeption are so confident about their hold above. They still have 3 players up here, and they're confident that they will be able to deny this plant. They're not too worried about being forced to retake. As I say that, looks like Akasu is looking to take down some of these air jabs as well, and another one immediately goes out again, and boop, another one taken down.
Yeah, well, there you go. So they are prepping for this retake to come through. The smokes do go out on the vertical lines as well, and that's going to enable the Scarz entry to come through on the ground floor.
Pion has already gotten deep into Rice, and he's going to start planting here. Is the C4 good for Shurip? It's not going to land. And Scarz are likely to lock in this diffuser plant. Of course, not without drawing blood, as Nina has found one from the vertical game. But how much longer can he stay above when his teammates are falling like flies down below? Northeption have lost 2 more players. Nina low HP. Sylvia deep at the back of sight. Neither player has any impacts to deal with this Monsi. And with that hole open on the site, it seems an impossible task. Montaigne could win this outright, but Sylvia is not even going to get the chance to take the 1v1. Not with so many other players waiting for him. He will have to try and take every fight he's given, and Tayo is happy to oblige. Scarz have just won 3 rounds in a row. They've taken the lead on Cafe.
Yeah, that's really cool. Scarz really do some evil scheming here on the attack, don't they? Just when you thought it was safe and it was a good idea to be playing on that vertical and denying that entry, all of a sudden, there's a Capital smoke on the roof. Not something that the defense could have expected to happen, right? So really well formulated from Scarz. All they needed to do there was deny that entry angle, deny that vertical angle through prep, and that was covered by that one Capital bolt that got sunk in between the bars and enabled Pion and Rek pop in through that prep double window. Pion could just turn around and get that bomb down nice and easy. Not just that, but they had that retake prepped to perfection as well. It was Rek that was out there actually, covering that small bakery window and was ensuring that they couldn't be backstabbed as they went for the plant. So Scarz thinking many steps ahead and once again coming away with a very dominant attack.
I really feel like this game has flipped again, Mandy. 3 rounds in a row is nothing to scoff at for Scarz. Very good position they find themselves in now. It's up to Northeption to change things up, right? Reading Fireplace, Bar, Cocktail, Kitchen Cooking. These bomb sites have all been won by Scarz on their attack now. And this Monty really has been one of the linchpin elements of that.
Yeah, I was going to say that I think Pion trying something different has really lit the spark for Scarz to get creative. And that's where they really thrive, right? That's the Scarz that we have known to grow in 2023 so far. It's the one that was the matter of their consistency in 2022 as well. So Scarz playing a very modern iteration of Rainbow Six. It's very good here in the series. Sharif is going to look for this early C4 out onto the roof, anticipating that Reku's going to be on the other side. But he's just over on the hatches for now.
We'll continue to wait for a little bit. He doesn't want to put it away because then he has to get it out again and it'll make that sound cue that'll rip. He's just going to walk around with a C4 in his hand.
Does look a little funny when he's doing that. It is going to be a reattempt for Northeption. And this time, even though it is a bakery take, Sylvia actually hasn't given up that position just behind the cupcakes. He's going to hold that for a little bit longer this time around, which I think is the right play if they wanted to contest the push here on Scarz.
Sylvia's got a great weapon to try and take this fight against the players outside, but as you can see, Scarz not looking to give him a gunfight. They're trying to clear him with utility. Now that Monsi, does not take very much damage at all. From the second impact, however, it's a different story. It's a massive chunk. That flashbang almost hit Sharif on the face. I think it actually might have landed on him. Sylvia eventually goes down. The Monsi helping to ensure Washai gets that pick. But, of course, Northeption still have a decent amount of map control. They still have this vertical game, and now they found the pick.
Yeah, so the danger this time is that Scarz no longer have that Capital to send that smoke through the floor and deny that vertical position anymore, right? So Nina makes good work of it. Meanwhile, the rest of Northeption can start to creep their way back down to the ground floor as well. These two players in coat check and on the red stairs are going to be a real pain here for the attack.
On here, another pick. Akusu gets a little bit too ambitious upstairs. Rex found 2 of them. This is an attacker-sided cafe if I've ever seen it. Washoi now to cover as Pion moves into the bomb site. Diffuser in pocket. Nina must make a play, but it's read perfectly by Scarz. That is a dominant half if I have ever seen one. 4-2 with 4 rounds straight from Scarz on their attack.
That was a great job once again from Scarz. Exact same push, going for something more direct inside of Bakery. This time it was met by much more resistance in that Wamai, but it looked all too easy for Washoi as he was able to claim that first pick. I think from there on out, Northeption just didn't look like they knew what to do from there. The eventual pressure did come out on the second floor. It was Rek that was able to find those 2 picks. He was able to get back up on those mining windows and take down the players holding those angles, looking down on below on the push, right? So those were the 2 pivotal picks that went in the way of Scarz to eventually translate that round win. Unfortunately, Northeption just looking a little bit lost. They're not knowing exactly what to do to prevent that Scarz push from working.
I also want to credit, it's something so minor, but Scarz, even when they have a clear position ready to plant like Pion did there, they don't rush it. They look at the clock and they're like, look, as long as there's more than 7 seconds left, we can have time to plant. Even technically, if there's less than 7, we still can. But with 40 seconds or whatever there was on the clock there, we know exactly what Northeption's next move is, right? 2 versus 4, there's only one option. That's to peek. So instead of rushing in a plant where we might stop covering each other, let's just hold angles for 10, 15 seconds and see where that leads us. And in that case, they never even needed to try and get that plant down because the kills were already fed to them before that would happen.
It is actually just like another level of thinking, you know, like I don't want to put too much criticism out there, but you know, we were watching Crest yesterday, for example, like that Crest Exist game, I think is what we were watching. And I think a big like amateur mistake that both of those teams were making was exactly what you're pointing out now, right? Like once they get into the bomb site, they feel so like objectively focused to get that bomb down that they don't think ahead and they don't plan ahead for that retake or for the re-aggression that's going to come through from the defenders that are in a man disadvantage, right? Whereas Scarz, like you say, they're excellent at dialing it back and not getting ahead of themselves. And I think that discipline is what separates the good teams from the great teams. It's what separates like the positions like, you know, like 7th through the 5th place from like 3rd to 1st place, in my opinion.
Ready to breach.
Northeption and Scarz are definitely those first place teams, that's for sure. They will be fighting for that candle like they did last stage. Of course, they fought for that mantle there. Unfortunately, one of these teams will be eliminated from the bracket at the end of this map. At the moment, Northeption are the ones with that pressure on their shoulders. But they've made a good job working on this map control and now getting to work on this vertical game. Oh, that is so close. Can he see the player?
I think there's an Azami barricade actually blocking that line of sight on the other way. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. That position inside of Coffee is protected for now. That's a really nice Ash charge to take him down, though. Oh, no, now he's stuck in that prone position.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
he saw him. And he landed the shots. That is a nutty angle from Akusu, and you called it perfectly. Washo was protected by one of those keeper barriers, but once addressed, the Ash was ready and eager to take that kill. And now Northeption have a number in advantage. Start looking towards this execute.
Nice now the utility going down for what will be a coffee drop, but that Goyo canister is going to lock them out for the time being. With 45 seconds left to go, Pion looks like he's going to re-aggress up the white stairs. He manages to find the first onto Shurip, and that's created an opening for the defense.
Well played by Pion. He did not get over-aggressive there. He was cautious. He didn't expect that no one would be watching him. He was ready to take a fight. He was taking out 3 drones as well, which is draining information from Northeption. But Sylvia is draining players from Scarz. Akusu does immediately drop, though, to his death. Pion in a bit of a battle here, but does get the better of Nina. It's all up to Sylvia now. 1v3 winnable, especially now after that. That diffuser is on the ground. And he knows he does not have time, especially with that Solus up above. Sylvia will force for the kills, find the first, but Fishlike knows all he needs to do is wait, biding his time, and giving Scarz their 5th round this map.
They are really starting to run away with it. I think this is the first time in this series that we can really start to say that the momentum is seriously swinging in the way of one of these teams. So far, it's been really back and forth. OT in the first map and a 7-5, the full 12 rounds in the second one. And now we're starting to see Scarz show their dominance here on Cafe, just like we predicted actually, Deb. We were saying that once it was going to get to map 3, we expected Scarz to start to run away with this, and they're really showing why they're taking us to Cafe.
Yeah, it's a great map for Scarz, clearly. We saw them yesterday, 7-0 Fav gaming, of course, a very different level of opponent. I think Fav were a bit drained after losing overtime on Order, and then let the mental get into have an effect and get into the game come the second map. But Northeption here, I mean, it's almost the same story, right? Like, you disregard the first 2 rounds, Mandy, this is a 5-0 for Scarz.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It just felt like Scarz took a little bit of time to eventually get into that that state where they could work through the mid-round. Those first 2, it looked like they played into the hands of Northeption, really. Like, it didn't look like they were dictating the pace of this game at all. But as soon as it came the 3rd round, there was a complete change in philosophy, and since then, Scarz has been walking away with this one. We're going over to another bomb site here for Scarz. I believe it is actually that top floor. I could be completely wrong. No, it's not. I'm completely wrong. It is reading. I've written this down wrong. But they are going to be extending out into the top floor. It's probably why I thought it was the top floor, to be honest. They are playing that mirror setup to extend their reach through all the way into Piano and make it really challenging for Northeption to gain that control.
You got to do it right. You got to extend into the top floor on a bomb site like this. And there's so much vertical gameplay available, and Nina is also ready with the buck to engage that vertical gameplay in the late round. Should Northeption get that top floor control? What we saw from Scarz was, as you said, a much more modern interpretation. Instead of clearing the top floor and then getting Vert onto the floors below, they just focused on trying to execute through where Tayo is right now, in fact, by using the Montaigne to get an execute down in the A bomb site through train and mining. Northeption looked to be doing something a lot more traditional with that top floor take.
Yeah, exactly. I think Scarz have the philosophy of, like, take what you can get, you know? Whereas Northeption are more like, let's do what we need to do to get this done. That being said, though, they have seen all the utility that has gone down in the top floor, and it is making me wonder if they're maybe trying to translate this push down into the ground floor. Nina's got some nice control over next to that mining hallway. Meanwhile, Akusu is actually the only player actually putting pressure in that top floor. I think Shurip's just walked into the... What on earth? Shurip's somewhere inside of the ground floor. He's in pillars, right in between two defenders.
Oh, okay, and Nina as well has somehow managed to quickly get himself into train. Now, Akasu does manage to take down Pion there, so a bit of an unfortunate start for Scarz, but they can't be too upset because they have taken down Shurip, as you said, who, by the way, is having a rough game. 1-5 for the star player from Northeption. Nina, the other star player, now making his way upstairs. Akasu's also on the verge of walking into sight. It looks like it may be a case of Northeption taking what they can get, but can they get this plant off? Tayo's there for one, looking to deny the plant now! Oh, it's all Scarz and the kill feed! And Northeption fall to pieces! 6 rounds they have tried and failed to defeat Scarz on Cafe. And this sweep may gift Scarz the chance that they have been searching for to go to another major. 1 round away.
Yeah, Northeption, they're not doing a very calculated execute. They're onto the ground floor. It looked like you were saying, that they were going to try and do something more traditional on the ground floor, but Shurip tried to make his way in and create an opening right next to the bomb site. The problem with doing that is that they haven't anticipated Scarz being on the top floor and playing that vertical. They just run their way straight on into sight without thinking about the next step ahead. They're getting too hasty with their plans and with just being fixated on the objective. And as a result, Scarz, they just play their strategy. They go, okay, they are on the bomb site, but that's not something we need to worry about because we can literally see them through the floor. So holding on to what they have at the moment are Scarz. They're not really feeling the pressure of Northeption keeping them guessing because Scarz's strategy dealt with what they were going for anyway. So I think as a result, Northeption just need to slow it down a little bit, right? Like, they're getting a little bit hasty on what they're trying to achieve. It was the same thing on the defense too. They're not really thinking a further step ahead of Scarz, especially on this map of Cafe where they seem so well drilled.
Yeah, Scarz struggled in the first 2 rounds. They played into Northeption's hands, as you said, but now this has been their game fair and square. There's no doubt about it. Fishlike might even have a read here. What are you doing on the Solus? I actually see that player outside. No, Shurip's gonna be cautious here, but he might actually walk straight into Fishlike. Oh no! The timing! And for the 6th time since the rehost, Shurip will go down. What a rough game it has been for him, and what a rough task now that Northeption have beset before them. In a 4 versus 5, staring down not only map point, but series point, major point, Scarz.
I do feel for Shurip though. He's trying so hard to make an opening work in the early game. He was so good at it the previous 2 maps as well, but not here on Cafe. It is the one map where they needed to pull it over the line that he's unfortunately just fallen short. It does seem like they are going to put some pressure though onto Rek, who is just running circles around them at the moment on the top floor. No player on the skylight to cut him off just yet, and he's pretty wary that they do have control down below. Of course, Sylvia is the player on the other side of that, but so is Fishlike.
Yeah, wow. I really love this read from Scarz. I think they've identified that Northeption, feeling a bit anxious, might be overthinking this, and as a result, they're going to play very ratty gameplay. However, making the first move ends up being for the worst for Fishlike, as he is punished. If he hadn't impacted that wall, then Sylvia would have had no idea. But Northeption are ready, and they've clawed back this numbers to an equality. Rek, though, great position. He smells blood in the water. He rounds the corner. He rattles off a few shots, reveals his position. Now he must pull back or risk losing his life, which Nina will handily steal away.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You called it. Making the first move is not the Jedi way. And now Scarz are down in the man count, right? Serious man advantage for Northeption, and with Nina at the hands of the buck, they can start make use of this vertical to try and flush out the remaining 2 plays of Scarz. But we can see them start to really get proactive. Both Pion and Tayo have completely vacated the bomb site, knowing that vertical pressure is coming out. And there goes Pion creeping his way up the wide stairs.
He's come back down. Oh, he's been spotted and he's taken a bit of damage. Pressure's now on. But a lot of time left for Northeption. They don't want to overcommit to hunting these 2 players. They just need to shape up for a plant. Thought they droned Tayo earlier, but maybe they didn't. Flashes go out. Pion is biding his time. Wall reinforced on site makes it very difficult for him to deny the plant from Yukiz. He might be able to go below and see for it, but he doesn't have information where it is. And so a wild C4 will not land its mark. Tayo on for the flank. Might find a second one here. Indeed he does. A 2v4 becomes a 2 versus 2 now for these remaining Scarz players. But Yukiz, after getting that diffuser down, will cover it handily. And Akusu through the drone hole will find Pion. Finally, the bleeding has stopped here for Northeption. For the first time in the last 6 rounds, they have one for themselves, immediately taking the tactical timeout to follow it.
I think that's fair enough from Northeption as well. Like, yes, that round they did win, but it was less, I think, on the onus of Northeption doing the right thing, but more on punishing the mistakes of Scarz. I think Scarz looking to get a bit antsy there and perhaps overly confident, especially in the early game, taken to Northeption. They were able to win out a lot of those opening picks. I can imagine, of course, the entry did go in the way of Fishlake, but that was traded back pretty well, unfortunately making a mistake in positioning there. So ultimately for Scarz, I think falling to their own overconfidence a little bit is something that Northeption are actually going to take the tactical timeout off the back of that, right? They want to actually come up with a more solid plan and something that's going to be more consistent against this Scarz roster, because so far it has been all them in this map.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, Scarz essentially lost that round because of the early picks, which is funny because they did find the opening pick onto Shuri, right? But then just over-aggression was punished by Northeption. So great read by Northeption. Thing is, that only works if Scarz give you the opportunities. And I tell you what, if Northeption do that exact same attack strat this round, where they kind of just sit there and wait a lot, they're not going to be given those freebies. And Scarz have too much of a lead to bank on that if you're Northeption, which means they need to take initiative.
That's why this tactical timeout is so important, right? It's about like taking the time to sit back and actually come up with a formula that's going to go into the next attack. It's not going to be, you know, just hope that some interactions go right. It's about managing the entire game on like a macro scale, right? That's where at the moment Northeption are really falling behind on that macro decision making. Being able to think ahead is something that they don't seem quite as capable of on this particular map against Scarz.
Yeah, well, let's see what they will do for Kitchen and Cooking as the next attack round. I quite like the Brava pick, but I'm not sure if there's a lot to target on this defense. And I wonder if, I mean, for example, clearing that VIP section, surely a Flores would be more effective if that's your goal. Are you looking for default cams, perhaps? You're looking for that cam on site. This is not like when Northeption were playing Maestro and Rek was hacking it. That was an obvious matchup, an obvious Brava pick, but I don't know about this one.
I think the thing with this one is like there's a lot of, you know, anti-grenades. Like you've got your Wamais and your Jaegers, and that's going to be the big point of contest here if you're going to be the Bravo, right? You want to be able to take those down so that your grenades and your explosives, like on Akusu, well, I guess that is the only set of explosives, is then reliable. It is a bit of a roundabout way of going about it. I must agree with you. Like it does feel like Flores wouldn't be bad, but essentially like this keeper setup that they have going on, they want to get rid of that. And being able to take down those Wamai discs is pretty important for that to happen.
Like you said, not a lot of explosives, right? No grenades on this lineup at all. No Zofia. It's just that Ash. No Flores, as we mentioned. The Grim, though, may help out with clearing some of these power positions, as will the Monty. Now, I believe there is still a player behind the cupcake stand in Bakery. Have a look at Nina. This is a very cheeky lurk on a 3-speed operator, quiet as a mouse. Nina goes down the red stairs. Deep angle into sight. No kills yet. nobody revealing themselves. And now Nina has been spotted. The jig is up, and he realizes he's in a three-way crossfire and must move back.
Not bad from Scarz, just holding on and playing the passive game. Very different to the last round that we saw them play. They're playing in the safety of these shields, and like we've pointed out already, it is quite challenging for Northeption with their lineup to actually clear any of the setup that has gone down with that. I think there's actually 2 shields on the line. No, there's 1 shield on line, but there's the rest of the army gates that they have to worry about, right? So currently Northeption struggling to get in on this ground floor. Instead, they're going to pivot their attention and realize we can't get in onto the bomb site, but we can get in above, and they're going to start to make use of this vertical game instead.
Fortunately, Akasu has breaching charges in addition to breaching rounds, so he can start to get vert, but really the only operator with vert potential. Nina's already used 1 hard breach charge, the hatch is open, but Scarz still have these incredibly powerful positions. Dining control still in their favor. Shurip has been waiting for a hell of a long time here, actually going to smoke off that angle, cover off the closet player. Now this is just a 1v1, but that impact makes things a little bit awkward. And still, no ground taken by Northeption on the back of this. Scarz still in a firm position.
Nervous here for Northeption, but excited for Scarz. This is them potentially sending themselves to the major, but Northeption are going to crush that dream. The first 2 go in the way of the attack, and now it's a 3-on-5.
Scarz now must retake from this disadvantage, but have a look at the clock. The timer is ticking. Northeption might have 3 kills. But that diffuser is yet to go down, and Washoy has begun the comeback. Fish-like on for the flank. Scarz are right on the cusp of taking this major spot. But Northeption stands in their way, and they will stand tall. Forcing that diffuser down. Fish-like for a second. A 2 versus 2 now, but Washoy doesn't land the shots needed. Fish-like with no gas babes remaining and no chance of winning the 1v1. Northeption barely make it work. They just gradually stay alive, inching their way into this game. Bit by bit, Northeption will make Scarz work for it.
What was such an unlikely attack for Northeption, they somehow make work in the late game. I think for Scarz, like ultimately what went wrong there was just the 2 picks that came out from Northeption completely opened up the bomb site for them, right? Scarz, they played such a passive game. They were sitting down on the bomb site, just behind their shields, behind their Kiba barricades, knowing, Northeption can't get in here, right? But I think ultimately what Northeption did was, yes, they put that pressure down on the ground floor, then pivoting up to the top floor, really kept Scarz guessing and was really able to allow them to isolate 2 1 versus 1s that went their way. And sometimes that's all it takes for a round to be turned on its head. Scarz, as a result, are actually going to try something completely different. I think they've taken us down to one of the second floor bomb sites instead. It does look like it's going to be that reading and dining room bomb site. So Scarz not willing to go back and repeat the same mistake.
Bomb located by
They have actually won this before. That's the other thing, right? Like, so Kitchen Cooking was the first bomb site that Scarz won. Then they went to Reading Fireplace. They won that. And then they went Mining, which was where Northeption finally got their first round. They took a tactical timeout before it and then converted that to a round win. Of course, we just saw that Scarz, their primary bomb site, Kitchen was unlocked again, so they went back. Northeption won on attack. So I think Scarz are just continuing their normal site rotation here by going to Reading Fireplace, which is a great pick in my views. Like, don't overcomplicate it. It's what you said on the previous map, right? Like, don't overthink it. Just treat this like every other round. You've already won once here.
Yeah, round by round, you know? That's the way it goes at the moment in Rainbow Six. Just take it slow and face their problems as they come. So here for Northeption, we've got double special drone squad. We've got both Flores and Brava. There's going to be a lot of droning going on. Lots of potential ways for them to break down this setup. But the one drone that they kind of don't have that I expected them to is Twitch, right? There's Mirror on the board, but there's no Twitch to try and deal with it. So as a result, you know, we've got other things going on instead. Actually, that's some really early control down inside of Pillar. I wonder how they were able to land that set of Selma charges, maybe just from the window below Hell.
Yeah, good question. Oh, so the drone was actually immediately shot by the defense, I assume. Here's another camera that will be gained by the attack. So that Brava is absolutely worth its value. Have a look at that. Already hacked 3 items, and we know one of those wasn't a Runegate, which will be a real hindrance.
This could be a dangerous plan for the defense, right? Because all the info that can see the second floor is gone now for the defense. The only thing that they're relying on is that vertical from above. They have to be actively playing it. So I can only imagine if you're Northeption, that's actually a potential hole now in that defense that they could exploit if they want to crawl their way in.
In the back of your mind, there is a pulse on the board as well, and that may be present later. There's been a repel in. Cocktail. Washoy taking the fight, but Sylvia wins it. Great way to clear this mirror position by putting pressure on it from behind. Or the attack now. Still roamers above. They are being cleared here, Mandy, and this is, like you said, the last line of defense for Scarz. If this falls, then surely the rest of them will as well. Scarz trying to have this player escape, but Nina coming from the piano side punishes Rek. We're opening that mirror window. 2v4 once again we find ourselves in, but hang on a second. Isn't that the diffuser? Cold on the ground? Underneath the new hatch?
Attackers have recovered.
That's not looking so good. Okay, it is actually retrieved rather quick from Northeption. Akusu's going to pick that one up straight away. But it is Tayo who's still alive, and he has been the comeback king so far for Scarz.
Oh. And Tayo does miss his C4. He has been a comeback king, but he missed the perfect moment to try and make this comeback begin. Fishlike is now the lone player on the ground floor as Tayo has decided to retake above, which was the perfect medicine for Scarz. The plan surely to be denied, but it manages to land. Now a brief moment of respite as Northeption wait for these two players of Scarz to retake. Fishlike cannot land his fight. And Tayo now in a 1v2. Can he be the comeback king when he is called upon? Rounding the corner, Akusu is there once again! But the fight for Tayo, he's not ready for the second! Northeption, piece by piece, are marching towards overtime.
Northeption are playing a much more measured attack now. The last two that we saw were extremely well formulated from this team. They took it slow, they identified the weakness against Scarz. I think the big thing here is Northeption introducing this element of unpredictability into their attack, right? The Scarz players don't know where to look because all the Northeption players are sitting outside the building. Yes, the drones are going in. Yes, their info is coming down, but it's from all across the map and they haven't telegraphed what execute they're going to go for. A big part of what was successful there for Northeption was that they did a mini execute onto the top floor before then they went down into the ground floor, right? And as a result, Scarz were just not ready for that explosiveness to come out from them.
No, they weren't. Scarz, wow, how have you let this happen? That's 3 rounds in a row, Mandy. That's 3 different bomb site defenses. The tertiary site, the primary site, and then the secondary just there going by. With reading, Northeption have really come to life in these ladder attacks. And that Monty has been one of the linchpins of that. It's funny because Scarz utilized it so effectively in their half as well. It wasn't something that Northeption toyed with at first, but then they got the idea, they took their tactical timeout and they converted it to 3 round wins. Now Scarz have finally taken their own tactical timeout. Will they, like Northeption, be able to identify in such a short amount of time what they need to do to change these bomb sites? They're actually going, Mandy, to a bomb site that they haven't yet played this game. In Bar Cocktail. This is the first time we're seeing Scarz go to this 4th different bomb site.
I kind of like this idea on paper because it is the one bomb site that has a more like centralized defense, right? All the other bomb sites, you need to hold on to a lot more of the map if you want to, you know, be able to eliminate that element of surprise from the attack, which is what Northeption are starting to lean into now in their attack strategies. Whereas in this top floor bomb site, there's only so many ways in that Northeption can go, right? And I think the big thing for Scarz is there's only therefore so many valid points of entry that they need to be watching onto. So I think as a result, just like consolidating your defense in one place, generally having your players play closer together is going to enable you to be in a position to play trades a little bit better. And I think ultimately against Northeption, which are a team that are trying to isolate these one-to-one interactions at the moment, it might be a good idea on paper to then go to that top floor. I might be overthinking that, but I do feel like playing a little bit closer together might be the medicine that Scarz need to pull it over the line.
Well, if there's any time to overthink, Mandy, it's when Scarz have a tactical timeout. So credit to them. This is the idea. Then it's on the back of that call and on the back of the conversation having as a result of it. Have a look at this. This is very cheeky.
They're literally holding hands here inside of Cigar, right? They're not allowing Northeption at all to get inside of shop.
I think the idea must be, with those mute jammers and the castle barricades, or that mute player with the shotgun, Pion, to delay as much time as possible. If he eventually dies or falls back, Northeption will assume it's clear, right? We've killed or dealt with the player in shop. And then there's a guy hiding behind the cigar desk, and that's Fish-like. And I wonder if that works. It's a very ratty play, very cheeky play to do it at match point, major point. I wouldn't hold it to Scarz. I wouldn't put it past them.
So the other good thing that they're leaning into here is that Azami setup too. They have identified that Northeption aren't that good with their explosives. The only set of explosives they have, once again, is on the Ash. Or there's actually 2 nades on the side of Sledge, but I've got no idea where he's used his grenades. Okay, they're actually still in his hands. So leaning into that Azami does force Northeption to try and clear it.
A lot easier said than done, as we know with that Azami. Okay, Nina has droned the mute and punished him. Now, is that castle still hiding in Cigar Shop? That's my question. Because if not, then really the next step for Northeption to deal with is Washoy here in Piano. But I can still see Fish-like's outline. He is hiding here, and they have absolutely no idea.
This could spell disaster for Northeption, and just as you call his name, Fish-like stands up to the cause, and he takes down Shuri. He might be good for the second here.
Now there's another problem for Northeption to solve. Yukiz. Oh no, Yukiz! With the nade out, Fish-like took it in his hands to swing and to get the numbers advantage. Oh, the buck of Nina once again going in for the kill. But with the skeleton key, it does not beat the super shorty. Oh, Fish-like! He's done it for Scarz. It is all up to Sylvia. Oh, and it's not going to work out for him. Copenhagen saw their major debut. But Atlanta is calling, the plane is boarding, and Scarz are on their way to the USA.
And what a super round there for Fish-like. We predicted it there, Dev. The top floor was the medicine that Scarz needed to push it over the line. The bait with the mute player was Pion that went down for the cause, but it is okay because Fish-like was there for 4 kills of